I'm Jamie.
I'm Gemma.
And you're listening to the Body Smart podcast.
How to get rid of belly fat, how to lose belly fat, and the best exercises for belly fat are some of Google's top search terms. And in a survey by Women's Health, 43% of women said they felt insecure about an undefined stomach area when getting naked with a partner. It makes me sad, so we need to talk about it. 43% of women don't want to get naked with a partner because of their stomach or their belly fat.
That's a shame, innit?
It's just so sad.
Get the lights on, have a good shag.
There we go, end of podcast, everybody. There's your advice.
Yeah.
First of all, right, what is belly fat?
Well, belly fat is the subcutaneous fat that we have on our stomachs. So it tends to be a place that we genetically store a lot more body fat. And yeah, it's
so when you say subcutaneous, that's the fat that you can pinch, isn't it?
That's the fat that you can pinch,
but
yeah.
There's also visceral fat as well.
And visceral fat is the internal fat, so the fat around your organs. And you do need a percentage of fat to be healthy. You know, there is such a thing as healthy fat. And fat is stored energy as well at the end of the day, and we do need that to be a healthy individual and also to survive if there was ever a famine, which I don't know if there's going to be nowadays. But who knows?
Who knows? But you, on our Instagram, at Body Smart Fitness, if anybody is listening and you don't already follow us, you do these things called Ask Me a Question on our stories.
Yes.
How often does the belly fat question come up?
A lot. It does come up a lot. And I think that's just because a lot of people will often hyper-focus on an area that they store more body fat. So whether that's your belly, your hips, your bum, your legs, your calves, your arms, your chest, wherever it is, normally where people carry more body fat percentage, they will perceive that, which it's not, as a problem area, that they want to reduce fat in that area. And the stomach or the belly in a lot of cases is a place where people do tend to genetically store more body fat. And that's why it comes up as a question so much of like, how do I lose my belly fat or how do I reduce belly fat?
We did a bit of research on this because we've got a video on this on YouTube, on our Body Smart Fitness YouTube channel. I will pop a link to it in our show notes. And when we were doing the research for this, videos that came up.
Crazy. They were nuts, weren't
get rid
they?
of belly fat. Can you remember the one that was like you mixed
The cayenne pepper.
Oh,
I remember that one.
Yeah. Drinking water with cayenne pepper in, and
and Gemma does it.
I drank
watch
this,
the video.
And spat it everywhere, which was not fun. Because how many takes did we do? About four takes
3 or 4.
of that.
Yeah, I went through a lot.
One of the other ones was toothpaste mixed with Vicks Vapor Rub. Apply that to your belly for, and how many? That had like what 7 million views on this video.
Yeah, cling filming yourself.
Cling filming.
Yeah.
I've done that. I used to do this thing, it was called Shrinking Violet, and I used to rub this oil in my belly and then I would put cling film around myself and I would go out with that under my clothes or sleep in it. It was just awful. It was horrible.
Yeah. But it just shows you the extremes that people are willing to go to lose belly fat, and also the misinformation out there, and how a lot of people, a lot of marketers and companies also know that this is an insecurity that a lot of people have.
Yeah, 43% of people, of women in a obviously that's just a random survey of I don't actually know how many people were surveyed. They say that like 2,000 is a good sample size, but that's a lot. That's high.
It is a lot, and then it just shows you the way people are being taken advantage of in that sort of sense over that insecurity, and it does happen a lot.
So the other question was, what's the best exercise to lose belly fat? Again, I'm sure you get asked that a lot.
That's another really top question that gets asked, is that a lot of people are like, what's the best exercise for belly fat? Or, what's the best exercise for fat loss or for weight loss? And this comes up all the time. And don't get me wrong, you can definitely do exercises to strengthen your core and to strengthen your abdominal muscles. But if you can have the strongest core in the world, and if you've got excess belly fat in that area, you're never going to see those muscles. So the best exercise for fat loss is that there isn't one. It's finding strategies to help you adhere to a calorie deficit, because eventually the fat will come off that area. Exercise you should pick is exercise that you enjoy, because one of the traits of people who not only lose weight but successfully keep it off is that they continue to exercise. So if you're just doing an exercise to lose belly fat, or you're just doing an exercise to lose weight or for fat loss, and you hate it, you hate getting on the treadmill, you hate getting on the Stairmaster, you hate lifting weights or doing a class or whatever it is, maybe you'll perceive through to achieve that goal, but you won't keep it up. It won't be sustainable. And then what happens? You inevitably revert back to where you was, so you don't sustain the results. So the better question to be asking when it comes to losing belly fat or successfully losing weight and keeping off when it comes to exercise is, what do I enjoy? What exercise do I actually enjoy? And go on doing something that you enjoy, because you're more likely to keep consistently showing up. And then when you get the results, you'll be able to sustain and keep them.
We've also done a video on 30-day abs, because this is also so when we were doing our research around our belly fat video, it was a lot of the things that came up were about drinking these crazy potions that people had done, or
quite
rubbing
literally a potion.
Literally, but like, you know, like when you're a child and you go in your garden and you make you make a potion with some petals and like half a slug, and all, that's basically effectively.
And I know people logically watch this and go, "That's bullshit," but the desperation goes, "Well, I'll give it a go." You know what I mean? Which is insane and crazy.
And then linking back to that exercise thing, you know, a lot of people will do these 30-day ab challenges because they see these before and after results. But I've done this myself before in the past. I've thought, I could get a flat stomach in 30 days. But looking at the picture of the person on a video or an article and not being realistic with myself and going, but hang on, she's about 4 stone lighter than me, and I've got at the time had a considerable amount of belly fat, and no amount of sit-ups were going to get my stomach flat at all, because I had fat to lose. So in our research, when we were talking about a 6-pack, which is different, I think, to this conversation, getting a 6-pack is not necessarily about getting a toned tummy or reducing your belly fat, but they reckon that the average woman with the average amount of fat will take 26 months for a 6-pack
to be consistent to get a 6-pack or like a flat stomach.
But that was about losing fat consistently. 26 months, that's 2 years and 2 months. Whereas, you know, we're Googling these things because we want it quick and we want it fast. And we think we're going to do it in 30 days. When in actual fact, we need 26 times that.
All great things take time. Take time. If you could get a 6-pack in 30 days, everyone would be walking around for 6-pack. And they're not. And that's because it does take time. It does take perseverance, discipline, consistency over a long period of time, not just over weeks or months, often years. And when you're asking the question of like, what's the best exercise to lose belly fat, and you're almost wanting to do that, more, you're asking the wrong question, because if you were to know that you had to do that exercise for say 26 months, you'd be like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do that. Or maybe you might convince yourself otherwise, but more often than not you don't. And that's just because people are looking to get the results right here, right now, and they're looking for that next thing that's going to deliver that. But you know, it's just not sexy, is it? Stay in a consistent calorie deficit, do consistent resistance training, do it for a long enough period of time, and you'll eventually get the results that you want. You know, like that isn't the sexy, hey, drink this magic potion, do it for 30 days, do all these tummy tucking exercises, and you'll look like this. Like that's the sex and the glam and the right here, right now, and that's what we are attracted to. But if you're a rational, logical person, you know that is not the case, because often maybe the extra 30 or 40 pounds that you're carrying, and maybe some of that is on your belly, that didn't go on overnight. That didn't go on in 30 days. That probably took months, years, decades in some cases to go on. So it's very unlikely that it's going to leave in 30 days. It's not to say that you can't get fast results, and fast is always relative to you, but it's often not going to happen in that short span, that short window. So for somebody listening right now who might be in that 43%, you know, it's not nice to hear, it's going to take me so 26 months was to get a 6-pack. So even if we halved that, let's say 13 months, just over a year, you know. Round it down even.
Round it down. But people don't want to hear that.
They don't want to hear that, no, at all. But I think if you give yourself the gift of patience, you're already setting yourself up for more success. Because, you know, if we talk about all the things that it takes to maybe get to a healthy body fat percentage and to look that certain way, it does take time, and it's going to take a lot of micro failures and mess ups and mistakes on that journey to actually understand what's going to work for you. And I think if you're just expecting to figure all that out in like 30 days, you're already setting yourself up to fail, which is managing your own expectations is huge in terms of being able to stay consistent and see it through.
So you talked there about the things that you can do to reduce your belly fat. I want to talk about the 7 causes of it.
Okay.
Because I think in order to understand how to undo it, you've got to look at like the reason why some people might have excess belly fat. Hey, been there. Yeah. Number 1, poor diet. Yeah. Just eating too many calories, eating too much. You know, it doesn't all get crapped out, does it?
It does not. No.
That's a horrible visual, but it was what came to mind.
It's true, isn't it? And it's food is being made by design nowadays to be super high palatable. Like you eat one and you want to just like, if someone gives me Oreos, like I have, like if that pack is left on the table, it's gone. You know what I mean? It's and that's just like food is made by design to just have that explosion of flavors in your mouth, and we just keep eating more and more and more. And we're very gluttonous in that way. So yes, it can be difficult at times. But again, that's part of figuring out that for you and being able to have a more balanced approach with your diet.
Number 2 on the 7 causes of excess belly fat, excess alcohol consumption.
Yeah. I mean, well, alcohol has calories in it. They get classed as empty calories, and that's just because there's no protein, carbs, or fats in alcohol. But alcohol is its own macronutrient. I think it's 1 gram is 7 calories.
Yeah, I didn't realise this till you told me this recently.
Yeah. And so, it's, like a bottle of cider can be like 400 calories. Some people will drink 5 of them, easily drink 5, maybe 10, that's 4,000 calories of alcohol. And then what happens when we drink too much alcohol? We make a lot of bad decisions and we eat too much food. We'll probably eat at the end of the night and then be hungover the next day and eat more calories. So, you can see how if you frequently drink or drink every weekend, the way not only are you going to consume a lot of excess calories from alcohol, but also then from food, because, I mean, I am so guilty of this. Like, I can go into drinking with all the best intentions in the world, and the second that second drink is gone, it's just like that rational part of Jay has just left the building. And this other guy is like, I'm out, where are you? And it's just, I think that a big part of that definitely plays around food too for a lot of people.
Well, that's why I'm 690 days sober today, not that I'm counting. And it's when I say that, people were like, oh, she must have been an alcoholic, she must have had a problem. No, not at all. But the main reason for me of why I chose to stop drinking was because of the decisions around food that it led me to. I felt, Paula Abdul, you might be too young to remember this, but she used to have a song called 2 Steps Forward, 2 Steps Back. I just felt like I was Paula Abdul in my life. Every kind of positive decision I was making, then I'd go out on a weekend, get absolutely smashed, stuff my face, not only on the night that I was drinking, but then for days afterwards as well. Yeah, because
the hangover doesn't just last one day.
No.
The more I've learned about circadian rhythms and clocks, then you get in late, you have a bad night's sleep. That affects your sleep for days. It probably takes you a full week to get back to feeling normal with your sleep just off drink. So one tip, if anyone's in a fat loss phase, one of the best things that you can do is cut out alcohol for a period of time. Just is. Because you just make bad decisions and drink way too much.
But on the flip side of it, if you do still want to drink, it is possible to still get results.
It is possible. In moderation, the odd glass, what we're talking about here is when 2 glasses equals 2 bottles and 2 bottles equals a takeaway and being hungover the next day. If that's you, abstaining for a period of time will definitely speed up your process.
Yeah. Like my sister's a Body Smart client. She plans in a glass of wine every night.
There you go.
And she's still getting results. Can be done. Number 3, lack of exercise is one of the causes of belly fat. Yeah. Of course. So you're not moving, you're quite sedentary, you then eat more. It's all about that calorie deficit. Yeah. 4 was stress. Yeah.
And that's because a lot of people stress eat. You know what I mean? Like if we look at what stress is, you're in a state of pain. You know what I mean? You feel uncomfortable. And what is a bar of chocolate or a bag of chocolate or whatever food. It's soothing, it's pleasure, it's an instant state changer. You go from being in a state of pain, stress, discomfort, feeling tight. You eat a lovely box of chocolates and it tastes amazing and glorious and you love it and you just, and then, but the problem is often after people do finish that, there's a lot of shame and guilt. Not always, but some people are just quite happy to have enjoyed the chocolate. But if it's an excessive amount because you've done it to mask the pain from the stress, then that happens. And all you've got to understand there is what you try to do in that moment is just change your state. You're in a state of pain or a state of being uncomfortable, and food was pleasurable. The good news is that if you can become aware of when that's happening, there's many other things that can change your state that don't involve food. So, whether it's getting a hot bath, going for a long walk, calling a friend that makes you laugh. I've got a couple of clients that, walked out of work, super stressed sometimes, and they'll just put before they even drive off, they'll put Kevin Hart on for 10 minutes and just laugh, just watch a bit of comedy. Because you think about it, it's like a bit of escapism.
Yeah.
And they're just watching something that they find funny, and they just laugh every time they watch it. And it's just like, right, let's get on with the day, let's get home. You know what I mean? It's like they've just given themselves permission to just have a break, instead of normally that might have meant, going to the shop and eating 3 bars of chocolate and feeling even worse after it as well.
I've not tried to do that, because stress eating was something that's been transformational for me over the past year. I just wasn't aware that that's why I did it.
Yeah.
So being able to undo those moments, like last night, me and my husband had a bit of a spat. We were just a bit at each other's throats, and I immediately go to put 2 slices of toast in the toaster, and then my brain goes, no, this is a stress response. You are not hungry. This is a stress response. But what you've just said there about being actively aware that I'm trying to change my state, I haven't thought about that consciously until this moment. So that moment of me taking the bread out the toaster and putting it back is like I've won against my inner bitch, but I probably still need to try and change my state at that time, don't I? Because that's what I'm craving to do. Yeah.
So, and you can do that in lots of different ways. But, it just always comes back to, it's very hard to be solution aware if you're not problem aware.
Yeah.
So first you've got to find the root cause of the stress or the problem. If you can get rid of that stress out of your life, fantastic. Get gone. Most people can't. Job, life, work, responsibilities that we all have. So then it's the case of managing that stress the best you can and finding strategies to be solution aware and solution focused that can help you overcome that. And that will take some trial and error. I'm not just going to say you're going to watch Kevin Hart and all your problems are going to be fixed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you might need different strategies for different times, for different moments. But the more you figure that out, the more you get to know yourself, the better the position you'll be in.
Yeah. Okay. Love that. Going back to stress though as well, in terms of belly fat, there's a hormonal issue there as well, isn't there, with cortisol?
In terms of
so with belly fat, if you are really stressed and your body's therefore producing a lot more cortisol, isn't there a link there between belly fat?
There can be, but a lot of it will definitely come down to genetic disposition. So just in terms of where you genetically store more fat, and you can see this often in your family, your sisters, your brothers, your mum, your aunties. You might all carry a lot of fat in your arms or your belly or your hips. So you can see that. But yeah, I mean, I think I'll try and find the study, but it's something like, when somebody cuts you up in in the car, when you beep your horn, you get stressed and you get all angry. I think you release enough adrenaline and cortisol at that point to go and run 5 miles. You know what I mean? Literally, and we're just sat in the car instead, just stewing on what's just happened. And it doesn't feel great. And that's a lot. That's why I think exercise in those moments can feel amazing for just burning off that energy that we've just released from the stress.
That's a good point. Let's say that happens on your way home from work. Let's think about our habits in that. Let's say you drive home angry. You're going to go through the door. If it was old me, previous to 690 days ago, I'd have gone to the fridge and got the bottle of wine out and poured myself a glass of wine. Yeah. Or got some chocolate, or maybe got some crisp. That would have been definitely my coping mechanism. So yeah, stress is a big one, isn't it?
It is.
Number 5 was genetics, and you've already covered that. Looking to see where your family store it. Number 6 was poor sleep. Yeah.
Well, it's when we have a poor night's sleep, our ghrelin, so ghrelin is known as the hunger hormone. This hormone goes up, so we are just naturally hungrier, and leptin goes down. So this is just how satiated we are after we eat food. So yeah, you can just feel like you're an endless bucket. Your body's tired, it's craving energy, it's craving calories, it's craving sugar, and yeah, you are just more likely to overeat when you are really tired. So.
One of our Body Smart clients, actually, ghrelin, they call it the gorilla. the hungry gorilla, which I thought was quite a cool way of remembering it, so that when they know that when they have poor sleep, the hungry gorilla, the grilling gorilla, comes out, craving more food to soothe that. And I thought that was like a cool little visual way of remembering it.
I think sometimes doing that, like understanding, like, oh, I've had a poor night's sleep, it's like that gorilla's gonna come out today. You know what I mean? Just like having little things like that where you've just created so much awareness around a possible problem. It allows you to be more empowered around, right, I'm going to ignore those feelings. I'm going to, manage my hunger and fullness cues. I know on a normal day when I eat this amount of food, I feel great. So maybe I'm just, because I'm tired, I'm probably feeling hungry to eat a little bit more, but I don't actually need to. So the awareness always helps.
So the final one on the 7 causes of belly fat was smoking.
Yeah.
I don't know many people these days who smoke, actually.
So interestingly enough, my sister's boyfriend was at our house last night and has quit smoking amazingly. He's not smoked for, I think, about 12, 14 months now, but he's gained 5 stone.
Wow.
Yeah. But he said he's stopped at that amount. And he's recently lost about another half. So stone is about 14 pounds. Just for anyone.
You're going to make me do the maths. That's 70 pounds.
Yeah, so he gained 70 pounds over that time because he was smoking about 30 cigarettes a day.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, and then instead of keeping his hands busy or whatever else, it just turned to food. So every time he was bored, instead of having a cigarette, he'd just go and have something to eat. And it's taken him a while to get that realise that's also become a problem too. But yeah, you can just replacing one habit with another.
Everything we're talking about here, I didn't expect the conversation to take this turn because actually a lot of it is coming back to how we handle stress, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And just habits, a huge part of habits, we spoke about it in the last podcast about good habits, compoundingly make your life better over time, and bad habits compoundingly make your life worse. And if you're not managing your stress, the things just keep getting worse over time. Likely, if you keep finding strategies that, when I get triggered in this situation, I'll deal with it this way. Do you keep dealing with that situation better over time? Yes, you do. So it's just having that awareness to know yourself and to just keep, proactively taking positive steps forward, and you will figure out a blueprint for you. That is what is key. There is no one size fits all plan. There is no, we can talk about ab exercises and the best core exercises that you can do. And there's lots of them, and you can build a strong core, and you can what a calorie deficit is and finding strategies that work for you. But really getting to know yourself and what you need at certain situations in your life, that is the key that unlocks everything to be able to truly get the results you want and sustain them for life.
I'll share a bit of practical advice on that, because I think that stress eating or stress drinking, for example, and this happened for me through coaching. It's not a quick process. It takes a bit of time, but I was asked questions. So I was asked to be honest, first of all. So when I had turned to food as a stress response, I would be asked the questions like, what happened just before that? And there's lots of different things it could be, like, where were you? So the environment you're in. One of mine was petrol stations, gas stations. So if I go to a gas station or a petrol station in the past, got to go and buy sweets. Yeah. Because that was the habit that I'd formed. But also, depending on how stressed I was, would be how much I would buy from there. So what's my environment? Or, you've talked about this before. When you go to the cinema, you've got to have popcorn. Because that's the environment. That's not necessarily a stress response, but it's a good way to kind of challenge that overeating that causes excess calories, excess fat and belly fat. Next one was like, who am I with? Yeah. Because that can be,
plays a role, or can be triggering in some situations. Yeah.
Like, who am I with? Is my habit with that person to go and indulge and have a big massive Sunday dinner with all the trimmings, starter and afters? Is that person somebody that I go out with drinking to excess?
You know what I do love about what has happened, the big shift over the last year too? A lot of people are going for walks now together, which used to never happen, and that is nice. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be. There's nothing wrong with going for food with friends or drinks, but a lot of people are starting to go for walks together, which I think is great.
Yeah. That is good. And then the other one for me is like, what was the thought? So what was the thought that's just happened in my head that then makes me turn to food? And that has been huge kind of just, oh, there's patterns here.
Yeah.
Like mine's ridiculous. Like one of mine is around my bank balance, which is silly. And I think
it's not.
But it's an insecurity of mine. So that it's an anxiety and it's a stressor. So if it's not what I'm expecting, or some things have come out that weren't supposed to, quite often my stress response will be to eat something.
But by saying that, and by taking ownership of that and being aware of that, you're not giving that thing power anymore.
No, I know.
And then it allows you to start actively looking for solutions. I mean, that's where our acronym come from, BLASTED.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Which is very much to figure out whether it's a physiological driver that's driving hunger or a psychological. So BLASTED stood for B, was for are you bored? A lot of people turn to food when they're bored. L, are you lonely? So, are you lonely and are you seeking distraction? And through that distraction, maybe you're reaching out to food. A was
angry.
Angry. Yeah, are you angry? You know, sometimes when we're angry, stress, we can obviously turn to foods as a way of emotionally calming us down.
S.
Stress. Stress. Are you stressed? And again, there's lots of different ways.
It's the biggest one.
Yeah,
it really is.
It is. And you do on stress, by the way. Some people do get like emotionally use food to calm themselves, but also some people actually it suppresses their appetite. I know a lot of people who overeat when they get stressed, like, oh, I really wish that was me, but that can be negative too. If you're somebody that gets so stressed out that you don't eat all day, you're then going to sleep bad, you're going to feel awful, you're going to wake up the next day feel like you're being hit in the face by a bus. Like, you actually almost have to raise the awareness, like, you've not eaten all day, go and have something to eat. And just often, but if you might not feel like eating, but if you do eat something, you will just be able to keep eating. And if you really can't, I would say just drink your calories. So just like make a smoothie, blend them up, and it's often easier to drink your calories than it is to eat them. And then at least that way you're having something, because the flip side of that isn't great either.
Next one is T.
Which stands for
tired.
I
remember these better than you.
I'm just like, but
self-explanatory. We talked about tiredness. Ghrelin. E was for environmental,
which we just covered too.
And then D was distracted. And that for me, like, if I've got bowls of food, if we're in a social situation,
that's
and
so
there's
bad.
bowls of food.
Anytime I've just completely overeaten on calories and I felt awful for it is when there's been like a big bag of Doritos, one of those dip things on the couch, and you've got something on Netflix, and you just next thing you look down, the bag's gone. And it's like, there's 1,500 calories.
So BLASTED is that acronym that really, really does help with deciding, am I hungry or am I not? When it comes to belly fat, one of the questions that comes up a lot is, is an expanding waistline the price of getting older? Is it the middle-age spread?
No, it shouldn't be. I mean, what we do tend to see is that, we do have like a decrease in hormones as we get older. Women go through menopause, men's testosterone levels drop off. And through this, I think, I'm not exactly sure the exact age, but we do start to drop a significant amount of muscle as I think we get over our 40s, men and women do. Muscle burns more calories than fat per pound. So we are just then burning less calories at rest and while moving. We often tend to find that our lifestyles are becoming more sedentary as we get older. So we're just not moving as much, or maybe not exercising as much, or people have got injuries, or just busy with life and kids. So your overall activity has gone down too. So now you've got the fact that you're losing muscle and you're becoming less active. So your total calorie burn is going down. You are burning fewer and fewer calories as you age. And if you've not adjusted your diet to be in alignment with that, you will start gaining body weight and body fat, and an area that it might go on is your stomach. The way to counteract that is to make sure that you're doing at least 2 full body resistance training sessions a week, and that's just to keep the muscle on your body. You won't lose it as you age; it will stay. So your metabolism will not slow down off the fact that you're losing muscle, because you're still actively using that muscle and training your body. Great for bone density and just life expectancy and aging. Everything is so many benefits to making sure that you're doing that as like a non-negotiable each week. And then just monitoring your activity, making sure that you're not becoming less active as you get older. Like you are maybe monitoring your steps or tracking your steps, or you're still working out or going for walks, or staying active in some capacity. And if you've got an injury, maybe you've got a bad knee or you've got a bad hip, there's lots of ways to work around it. Don't lean on that as an excuse to not happen, because that is how oh, well, my knee's a bit bad now and I can't really do anything. It's throwing a spanner in the works. And then a year's gone by and you've gained 15 pounds and half of it's gone on your stomach. I mean, you're just like, oh, it's just, I'm in my 40s now. So, you know, you just kind of accept and play into that role that maybe society accepts instead of going, you know what? I get on the ski erg, I'll do an upper body workout, I get a hand bike, you know, I'll do an ab workout. There's lots of things you can do that maybe don't affect your knee while rehabbing your knee and making it better. So it's just, yes, our physiology does change as we age, but it doesn't have to.
There is a really depressing study, if you're like me and you are now in your 40s, which I will link in the show notes, which talked about metabolism in women in particular.
Yeah.
And apparently there's no difference in our metabolism between the ages of 20 and 50. Yeah. So menopause doesn't affect metabolism, it is our behaviour.
It is your behaviour. And this is not to discredit, because that could be very triggering for a lot of women to hear who have really struggled going through menopause, and we're not trying to play that down in any way. But like hormones, period, rule the world. Like they do. And that is a huge, significant change in hormones and hormonal behaviour. And it might just mean that you're feeling super lethargic, super tired, super ravenous. You know, what's happening with all these things? Energy levels are going down. You don't move as much. Calorie burn's gone down. You feel hungry because you're tired all the time, or your appetite's up. You eat more. And very quickly, in a short space of time, you know, you can just start to see that scale weight go up and up and up, and your body change. And yes, it is linked to the behaviour change that's happening maybe through menopause, but you can, if you are able to become aware of this, understand your physiology, understand your hormones, and start to take proactive steps forward, it can have very little impact.
Hey, there's hope.
There is hope. And I mean, you can see on our Trustpilot, and you can see on the Team Body Smart page on Instagram, you know, we've got loads of ladies in their, you know, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s who have all been able to just thought menopause was the thing, or the reason why they've got to this point, and either plateaued with their results or just started gaining weight, and they've quickly been able to realize like that isn't the case. There are strategies and ways to overcome and beat this and actually get in the best shape of their lives.
As a woman in her 40s, I'm very happy about that, so maybe I'll be able to navigate it well. So to wrap up then, right, what would be your top tips to reduce belly fat? I mean, we've kind of gone on a little bit of a tangent, but a very valuable one.
Yeah.
Even like talking about menopause there, and I'm thinking about those causes, you know, like the stress of menopause, the anxiety, the poor sleep that comes with menopause, the lack of motivation because your hormones...
And it all affects your behaviour. Yeah. All affects your behaviour, in a big way. And that's why it's not to downplay any of those things, but being aware of them, you know, back to there. If you're not problem aware, you can never be solution aware. So by being aware of the issue or the issues, you can actively seek solutions and find strategies to move forward.
So go on, what are your top tips?
Top tips are get over to the Body Smart Fitness website and use our calorie calculator. Work out what your calorie goal would be to be in a consistent calorie deficit. That's what you're going to need first. You're going to want to train. People who successfully lose weight and keep it off exercise. So you're going to want to find exercise that you enjoy. A big one, and this is a really big one, is that you're going to have to flex that patience muscle. You know, instead of setting a 30-day ab challenge or stomach challenge, or, you know, a 60-day one, you know, give yourself the gift of patience, set it for 6 months or for 12 months, and, you know, repeatedly keep showing up and be consistent and watch those habits just compoundingly get easier and get better. And, you know, you can, like, this time's going to pass anyway. 3 months, 6 months, a year is going to pass anyway. Would you rather took consistently small steps forward every single day over the next year and be in a fantastically better place in 12 months' time? Or would you rather go all or nothing, go all at it for 30 days, probably not last the 30 days, completely fall off, feel like a failure, and then feel like you've got to start again from zero? Versus
yo-yo the whole time. It's so depressing.
Yeah, it is. And it mentally, as well as physically, it's not great for you, but mentally it beats down that self-trust that we have. Yeah.
And obviously I'm extremely biased, but according to the Association for Talent Development, you are 95% more likely to achieve a goal if you are accountable to a specific person or process. So if you are listening to this and you're thinking, do you know what, I want to sort this out for once, I know I need patience, I know I need support, I know I need that person to challenge me on the stress eating or the overeating, and you want to look into one-to-one nutrition, mindset and fitness coaching, where should they go?
you should go over to bodysmartfitness.com. You can hit that big apply button, or you can navigate around the website to see what it is that we do. You can apply for coaching. You'll be able to apply and speak to one of our amazing breakthrough team and see if we're a good fit.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.